Hi there, today I'm going to be making a short video on what you can do if you've bought a ring that's just a little bit too big. I got this ring last year. It was a gift, but I had been eyeing this particular ring for a very long time. With rings, they come in different sizes. This one went in US sizes. Now, I had never bought a custom ring before, so I've never had to really get my fingers sized. I didn't have a sizer or anything. I looked up these guides on how you can do them yourself, and they say that you can do it with a string. So, string it was. I wrapped the string around my middle finger, which was the finger that I wanted the ring on, and I wasn't sure how tight to do it, so I just did it like to fit. I just looped it around without pulling it tight, which now I know is a mistake because just perfectly fitted around my finger. I was a US size 7. So that was what I put in, and the ring was ordered in a US size 7. When I received the ring and I first put it on, it is a perfect fit in that it sat on my finger exactly. But what I hadn't accounted for was that if I shake my hand around, it becomes like this, because while it sits on it perfectly, there's no grip. If your ring is loose, it could slide off your hand, especially if your hands are wet or oily for some reason. Yeah, even just like when you're walking and you have your hand kind of down by your side. So now I was on the hunt for what I can do to fix the problem. The first thing I thought of was getting it resized, sending it back to the jeweler who made it. But because it was a gift and I didn't buy it myself, I felt like it was just too complicated to be shipping this ring back and forth. So I decided against that. The second option I considered was taking it to a local jeweler to have it resized. Some of them quoted me half as much as the ring is worth. There was also the issue that the ring is inscribed. It's inscribed like at the bottom part here. With this ring in particular, more than half of it is the unique design, and where they would need to take a chunk out is where the inscription is. I didn't want them to risk messing up the inscription because that's an important part and a sentimental part of the ring for me. Yet another thing is when they resize a ring, they tend to polish the jewelry all over. And you know, this ring already is a small and thin piece of jewelry. By polishing it, no matter how small, it takes off a layer. With a ring this small and delicate and thin, taking off even a slight layer I felt was a bit too much. Since I'm not a fan of getting it resized, what can I do? So I started thinking, maybe stacking rings is an option for me. So I went back to Etsy and I started looking up thin stacking rings. And I managed to find this Australian seller who had exactly what I had in mind. I bought this. This was 100 Australian dollars. It is a thin 1mm stacking ring, and I made sure to get it in the same material as my original ring. If you're interested in the specs of my original ring, it is a round morganite set in 14K gold with 6 little diamonds. This is really important because not only am I using it for the practical purpose of stopping my original ring from slipping off my finger, I also want the look to be cohesive, so I got it in 14K rose gold. The seller's 1mm stacking rings came in white gold, yellow gold, rose gold, and silver. I went with this kind of like bark design because I thought the texture was somewhat interesting. It matched and complemented the design of the original ring without pulling focus, which was exactly what I was after. So with this ring, I got it in my true size, which was 6 3/4. If I had gotten the original ring in 6 3/4, I wouldn't be having this problem now. But I actually rather enjoy the look of these two rings stacked together. I mean, this might be my own personal opinion, but I actually feel like it elevates the original ring. I feel like it adds more texture and dimension to the whole look. And I don't always wear the original ring because, you know, with the gems and things, it does stick out. What I do is I take it off and put it back in its box, and I just wear this ring by itself, which is a minimalist look on its own. I'm so happy that I came up with this solution because this ring wasn't so big that I had to resize it, but it was just a little bit looser than comfort for me. And with such a precious ring, I didn't feel comfortable risking having it resized. I intend to keep it for a very long time, like forever, so the less polishing the better, because like I said before, the more you polish it, the more layers you take off. If you're not a fan of the classic ring shape, there are these curved stacking rings that you could get. I was also looking at them, but But because of the way my ring is designed, there's kind of this gap at the bottom where it can accommodate like a classic ring. Now when I shake my hand or when I'm out doing everyday things, the ring does not slip at all. You should try to get a ring that's 0.8 millimeters or 1 millimeter at the most. I think if your stacking ring is wider than 1 millimeter, it might divert the attention a little bit because then it'll look more like two rings stacked together instead of an accent. I'm so glad that I was able to find a way to wear my original ring comfortably and safely. Let me know what you think of this. Comment down below if you think that this is a good idea too. And comment down below how you wear a ring that's a little bit too big. If this video helped you or gave you any ideas, please give me a thumbs up and think about subscribing and turning notifications on by pressing that bell icon.